Hey guys, this is EliGE, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I use Refrag, specifically Angle Trainer, to improve my crosshair placement and my pathing. So normally when I start off wanting to make an arena, I'll just go to a certain position that I want to make sure that I'm cleaning really efficiently and make sure I'm not like making a ton of noise when I'm clearing all these angles. So for example, if I wanted to work on how I'm clearing a ramp because I'm rotating back from B side or mid, I'm usually going to have to be the first one that's like clearing all of these angles here. And I have to make sure that I'm not making noise. Some of these are different angles. Like for example, when I'm coming here, I would have to do a left eye peek, so he technically has an advantage at all these positions. So I'm gonna have to learn how to peek that a little bit differently compared to these angles here, where I'm peeking right eye. And so he can be in any of these positions. I have to make sure that I'm not making any steps when I'm clearing these angles. And I also have to make sure that I'm obviously going to win the duel. So I would just get into the spawn editor, and I usually like just putting all the positions that I think that I would play. So for example, I would do like add a CT spawn, and a very easy way to like know which angles you want to do is which types of angles you're just naturally clearing, or which ones you would be playing yourself if you were playing in the game. Like for example, if someone's like going to be jiggling here, you just keep adding spawns, and Angle Trainer is going to be showing you exactly which spawn you added. So for me, I'm just making sure that I'm putting all the angles that I know people are going to be playing and that I have to clear very well. And this is pretty much all like the main angles here. I'm not going to put the one up here because people don't really play here anymore. And that's another thing that you have to keep in mind too. Like people aren't playing all these positions. And I'll show that when I'm going to be adding some of the spawns into the bomb sites. And usually I don't like to have like the same exact T-spawn because then I just have the same exact crosshair placement. So I just add a couple in the same spot. And then another thing with Angle Trainer too, like you can just add or remove more bots if you want. Usually for like isolated angles like this, like normally there's only going to be one player that's in these positions. So that's usually how you want to train them, unless you want to just specifically be trying to get as many duels in as you can. But another really important thing is just making sure that your pathing is really, really good. Like when do you do a crouch? When do you go out a little bit wider? Like here, for example, because I'm going a little bit left eye, doing a little bit of jiggle, doing a little bit of a crouch, but I'm coming out a little bit wider, so it's harder for him. Because if he has to hold this angle, it's going to be harder if he has to be, if he has his crosshair placement here, and I come really close to the wall and I crouch, he's gonna be aiming here for me to be at the back of the wall, or maybe here. And no matter what I do, if I come out close to the wall like this and crouch, it's going to be a lot harder, and he's going to have to adjust his aim, and I already have my crosshair placement exactly where it should be. So that's all of the things that you have to keep into consideration. And the really awesome thing about Angle Trainer that I really like is that you can set it up so it directly punishes you with changing the reaction speed of the bots. You can put it as low as 0.3, 0.4. I usually don't go more than 0.3 because it becomes very difficult, and he just instantly kills you if you don't kill him instantly as well. Like that. But 0.3 usually is pretty good for me. I just didn't really clear the angle that well. So we keep on clearing these angles. They're right eye, so I can just... I'll have like the advantage in most of these fights as long as I clear that well. Get closer to here so they don't see my shadow. And I still get owned. But that's the beauty of it. You can put it to 0.4, 0.5, whatever you think is good. And you can see all of that in the menu, or type it at dot reaction. So you can go higher or lower. Repeak reaction time as well, if you want to do like a jiggle, and that's the repeak reaction time. So this is another one of the spots that I really like showing Angle Trainer for, where you're clearing monster, and these like theoretically are all like really hard fights when you're a T coming out monster. There's so many angles that like, they can be on the grates up here, so I can add spawns for all like these common positions. People like to play here to be able to shoot at the feet. So just putting like all of these like positions that are very difficult. And one of the really underrated things about clearing angles as an entry, it's a lot about macro understanding about like where the other team likes to play. Like for example, if you know that a player doesn't play in this position, then you don't need to really like be focusing that super hard when you're going over the demos. You're like, okay, this guy really likes playing at this position and this position, and he never really plays on this side. Or specifically like the CTs like playing double monster setups where the left monster guy is getting contact. And if you don't have a flash for that, you're going to have a really good way on knowing how to peek that. So if you want to like clear this pretty efficiently, like you have to be thinking about like how close do I want to go to the angle? Do I want to peek it far back? Do I want to peek it close? I'm left eye peeking on this, so I probably want to be a little bit closer to the angle. Make sure that like my crosshair placement's good for all of the normal spots. And it's the same. It's pretty much like the same thing when you're coming out on like these spots on a monster, like how far you're peeking out wide. And the thing is you can learn this stuff just playing the game, but it's just going to take you a lot longer because you're not going to have so many situations where you don't go out on a certain position without utility. And, you know, there's just a lot more circumstances where, you know, if you know that you're uncomfortable like clearing a certain angle, you can just go straight into it, and you know exactly what angles you want to clear, how you want to clear them, and you're just going to develop how you want to clear these angles based off of like how you're, you know, either playing as a bot, or you can have a friend join you and like they can take over as like the CT side and you could be at the T side, or whatever it is. If you're a CT, you can use this in the same way. You're just going to have to use, you know, one of your friends at the same time. So, you know, they are also practicing their crosshair placement, and you know how you should be positioning yourself as a CT with your crosshair. So one of the main things that I've learned from Angle Trainer, and of course watching the best entries in the world, especially Kindar, is just, you know, the best way to improve your aim is actually by improving your crosshair placement. Because, you know, it's just all about efficiency and making sure that, you know, you have the right pathing, you have the right crosshair placement, and there's less time where you're, you know, coming out of an angle and you were aiming here and then you have to flick to, you know, where he actually was. You should have just been there the whole time, or you should have pathed a little bit better so, you know, he doesn't instantly kill you, or it would have been easier for you to kill him if you did a slightly different pathing. And it's really underrated. Like, I feel like there's pretty much the best path to getting like a really good entry is just by having really good crosshair placement, really good pathing. And, you know, that's how I use Angle Trainer. I think it's really, really effective, and it's something that you can do by yourself or with friends. And overall, I think it's really awesome.